Love in the time of COVID. How do I nurture my most intimate, committed relationship during this difficult time? In the past, our challenges to our relationships of this kind have been about us being so separate from one another, with going different directions for work and with our lives and trying to find time for each other. And then all of a sudden, without any warning, it's exactly the opposite, where we're spending a great deal of time together, and that poses its own challenges to a relationship. Hi, I'm Dr. K.P. McKee, founder and executive director of A Spacious Place Creativity and Spirituality Center. And as we walk through today's activity, we would love to hear from you, your questions and comments, because we're all learning this together. And as you can see, I have someone with me today who's usually behind the camera, who will introduce himself now.
I'm David McKee. I am the chair of the board of directors for A Spacious Place and the usual videographer on that side of the camera.
And you were going to talk to them a little bit about who you are and what your background is for this.
Okay. I have Master of Divinity, and as part of that, I did pretty much all of my elective hours in marriage and family counseling. And so I have that training and have done some marriage counseling with a few couples. And done a series of weddings where I also did counseling before the wedding.
So. And we will have been married for 40 years in January.
January 3rd, you can send us all comments and stuff.
It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. And I also have a background in marriage and family relationships. That being said, we are learning to each day, and it is a challenge for us each day, and we're figuring it out. So this is not a we know how to figure this out sort of thing. These are some things we've learned in our education and in our marriage that have worked for us, and we hope that they will be helpful to you in your relationship. But we also want to be clear about this. This is for all committed, monogamous, egalitarian relationships. They are not specifically about heterosexual married relationships as ours is. So you're going to talk a little bit about how we have already experienced a great deal of togetherness before the pandemic hit.
Okay, so before the pandemic hit, I had been working, going into an office, and my job got outsourced. I was then home looking for work, looking for something full-time, looking for contract work, doing some contract work, but that's been about 3.5 years now. So that has meant that instead of me going to an office, I've been officing here. I have my own little area upstairs that's kind of my office and has all my stuff there that I'm working on. And so that means I'm here.
And I do my work out of the home, so suddenly we were together a great deal. So we've been trying to figure this out for some time now, and we wanted to share with you all some things that we have thought about and also some things from our education. So we're going to look at this as the importance of a healthy relationship of this kind needing two things: separateness and togetherness. And so we're going to start out talking about some practices that bring us together in healthy ways. And the first one is ways that we can learn together as a couple.
Yeah. So a lot of learning can be done through things on your computer, things on your phone. Mine's over there somewhere. And you can share those together. For instance, there are things like Duolingo where you can learn a language. You both can work on it. You're working on it on your own device, but you can share what you're learning. Let's see. I think that kind of gets some ideas.
Yeah. Cooking classes, whatever interests you have that you can share, this would be a great time to build on those. And as David was saying, there's lots of online resources for doing that kind of thing.
Our daughters, for Mother's Day and Father's Day got us a gift where we get to participate in the masterclass program that's online, and that allows you to learn things that you can share with the other. It also allows that you could watch the same things and then talk about them. So we sometimes will get audiobooks and listen to them, which allows us to hear things that we can be doing other things and listening. There have been some good National Geographic programs that we've watched together. You want to keep learning, keep your brain active.
Yeah, and that helps it be about us as humans who are growing and changing. And one that we do a lot together is serving together.
Yes. Find ways to be more than just yourself or the couple. You want to find ways that you can serve. We have a nonprofit, which you probably know since you're watching this, called A Spacious Place. And A Spacious Place is worked with lots of groups that sometimes get overlooked, but they have special challenges that a lot of people, they don't mind donating to, but they don't necessarily want to get in and do something. And we have worked together to bring creative expression to these various and sundry groups and help them think about, how can I create? What can I do? So it helps challenge them while giving us an opportunity to serve together.
And we're aware that right now it's more difficult to do that. So we've had to toggle and do other things online, which has been great because David has expertise in things technological. So there's a lot of needs that we can address and that you can address even in these difficult times. Just watch the news, and something that troubles your mind, something that bothers you, is a way to think, oh, this is something that I can do something about.
And not to say that donating money is not good.
That's necessary.
With the challenges right now, because we can't get out and go to some of these groups, donating money allows them to be able to keep functioning and doing things because their staff is already there with the people, and they can't have other people come in. So don't just think, oh, what can I go do? Because right now, going and doing, it's a hard thing.
Yeah. Well, service even comes into, if you are wanting to get some dinner, looking at a local restaurant and spending our money that way so that we support local businesses during this difficult time. And then we talked about things that we can enjoy together, and specifically maybe some things that you can be physical activities that are done.
Well, and as I was thinking about enjoying together, you can, as a couple, go to movies, but now with the pandemic, that changed things. But there's movies you can watch online, so you can watch them online together. When it's over, give the other time to think about it. Don't just ask them right away, what'd you think? Let them take time to relax, process, and then talk about it together. One of the things we like to do is go for walks. We will usually put in anywhere from 4.5 to 7 miles a day walking, which gives us an opportunity to talk about things, sometimes just enjoying the birds, enjoying whatever is out there in nature, and walking in that togetherness that is that comfortable silence. Silence is not bad. Silence can be good. And when you are working on your relationship, those silences together can be a good thing. And just think about the things that you enjoy that brought you together as a couple, whatever those things are, things that you can do together. And outside and physical activity are so very important right now for our physical health and for our relational health. So it doesn't matter what it is,
just so long as you get a chance to be outside a little bit and be together.
And we have seen a lot of people in our neighborhood that have purchased or brought to the front furniture that they put in their yard, and they can sit in their yard together, watch people walking, or just watch what's happening in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And then we were talking about worshiping together.
Worship together is an important thing. You have a spiritual side that needs to have a connection with that person that you have that relationship with. One of the things we like to do is, while we're walking, take time to pray. Think about what are needs for people we know, what are needs for our local community, for our national community, our global community. What can we bring before that higher being that we speak to about these things?
Yeah, and it's a great time to look around and find things that we can be grateful for too when we're out walking. It helps us remember what has drawn us together and what is our first love. Whatever your faith is, that is the basis of your ongoing relationship. It's definitely an important spiritual connection. And then we wanted to talk a little bit about everybody's favorite topic.
That's right.
Physical affection. Okay. And so, as far as sexual intimacy goes as well.
As we were talking about this and planning, one of the things I mentioned is that physical affection for the person, that hand on the back, holding hands, those things are all important. In Texas, in the summer, outside, being affectionate by holding hands or your arm around the person's waist is probably not letting them know that you really care about them as much as trying to tell other people, oh yeah, we're together. Think about where you are. Think about, is this something that the person's going to enjoy? If it's 105 degrees outside, will you enjoy me holding your hand and our hands just dripping? Probably not. It's not going to mean as much to you. Another thing I thought about is, there are times where when Kay and I are out somewhere, I may lean towards her like I'm about to tell her something very quietly and just give her a little kiss on the side of the head. It's not for anybody's business. It's just my way to say, hi, I'm here. If you're out in public with that person with whom you have that committed relationship, doing things, having your hands all over them in a way that is basically telling everybody, look at us, is not physical affection. It's performance art. And it's probably not even good performance art in a lot of cases. So think about that. Hugging that person, running your hands on their back, that's something that is personal, not public. So be aware of being physically affectionate, both in public and in private, and knowing that there's a difference between the two. And what would be appropriate in private is not appropriate in public. And did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, yes. We are fans of passion. It is one of the things that gives spice to life. In our entertainment industry, passion is often defined as young, healthy people showing passion for one another. And also everyone's very attractive and in great shape. And they are showing passion by throwing one another against walls. I just expect it sometime to see a picture come off the wall and beam one of them in the head. And I understand that that's entertaining.
Or go through the.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of options that could go there, and that's entertaining for us to watch, no question. What we're talking about with sexual intimacy in a long-term committed relationship becomes less about outside looks and more about a long-time commitment through illness and difficulties, the things that we do that gets on the other one's nerves, and we find a way to talk about that and work through it, and then that deepens the intimacy there. And for me, it feels like a reset button to help me remember what it is about the relationship and about David that matters to me, and that this is the most intimate, committed relationship, human relationship that I have, and to reaffirm that. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, or if we're good with that.
I think we're good.
Okay.
I think that covered it.
All right. Now that we have talked a lot about togetherness, let's get into separateness a little bit.
Okay. Should we move apart?
We'll just lean
over.
So we're going to talk about separate personal interests being explored.
So I really enjoy technology. Caleb doesn't mind using it. She's not interested in the level I am. And so that's an interest I have. There are things that she is interested in that I find an interest, but it's not at that same level. So figure out what the things are that you really like to do, and the other one will think about what they really like to do, and allow that space to say, you don't have to like everything that I like in the same way I like it.
Yeah, and I love the idea of a supported space, so that if David is working on something that is of interest to him, that I respect the time and space that requires, and that then he would do the same for me.
Which moves into our next point.
Yeah.
Which is the fact that we need personal space sometimes. The personal space can be just a time that you're going to set aside. Okay, this is time I'm going to go do whatever I need to, or I'm going to go sit outside. Personal space can just be as much as just sitting on your back porch. I get personal space sometimes when I'm grilling. My youngest daughter likes to come out at the beginning because she likes to see the fire, but she doesn't like the smoke after it's gotten going, so she tends to go back inside. And nobody else seems to really want to be there in the midst of the smoke like I do, because I enjoy the grilling. Respect that time and space. Kay will go into the office we have here, maybe to do some artwork or write on something at times. And if I know she's in there and the door's closed, and if there's something I really need to talk to her about at the time, I'll knock first. Let her tell me if she's available at that time. That's especially appropriate around Christmas time, people, because someone may be in wrapping presents. Don't just barge in on them.
Well, that would be
Which we've not ever
hurtful
done
to you as well.
Which we've not ever done to each other, but our kids have done that kind of thing.
Yeah, and we're aware that people have different living arrangements. You may be in an apartment, and there may be less space to be in a different space. So if there can be a way for an agreement about a closed door, or even if there's a time whenever I'm going to be in the living area and I need for you to be somewhere else, and it's not about me not loving you or caring about you, it's about me taking care of my own personal needs, especially important for those of us who are introverts. Also, people have been using their cars that way as well. You can just go sit out in your car for a little bit, and it just needs to be respected by your partner. And I think that leads us right into talking about personal boundaries, about things that are each person's own personal private business and how we respect that.
Yes. Many of us, when we grew up, our parents, when mail came to us, seemed to think it was okay to see what our mail was that we got. When you're in a committed relationship with someone, if they're getting mail, that's theirs to open. Let them open it. Don't get on their computer to look and see what's on it without their permission. I do all the tech support here in the house. So if Kay's having a problem, she will tell me she needs me to look at her computer. Unless it's specifically related to a program, I don't open up the programs because I don't need to see what she's working on.
And I just wanted to talk briefly about journaling, because it's a very important way for me to remember myself as a separate self, which is very important in a committed relationship, that we have a clear sense of who we are, as so it's interdependent and it's not codependent. So I spend time journaling about the things that matter to me, about the things that concern me, about expressions that I want to make creatively. And David respects that, and that's my private space. He doesn't go in and look at my journal. So I think this would be a great time. If you do not do journaling, this would be a great time to start. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a spiral that's left around the house from a course you took before and you still have pages in. It doesn't matter. And then the last one that is about, it's both separate and together, is naming the other person. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
And naming them can be about gifts that you give or provide, the way you, maybe you know that they've been busy working at something and haven't been taking time to drink something or eat something, and maybe you put a little something together and bring it to them. That names them because you're saying, I see you. We also talked about nicknames. Nicknames can be something that says, I see you, I appreciate you. We were watching an episode of The Golden Girls the other day, and Dorothy's ex kept calling her babe, and it offended her. She didn't want to be called babe, and he just couldn't seem to get past that. So, if you have something you want to call them, kind of check with them. Make sure this is something you're comfortable with. Don't call them something that's going to be demeaning in any way. Make sure it's something that's loving, and make sure your actions are saying, I see you.
We can name each other by giving gifts that show that you've thought about the other person and their interests and needs and their hopes. Celebrating occasions that are important to them. Speaking and saying, I noticed that you did whatever, and I appreciate it. We all need to be, especially right now, encouraged and seen, especially by the people who are closest to us.
And that we're spending the most time with.
That's right. And then we just wanted to point out that our children are grown. So right now we don't have the challenge of children that some of you all will have because the children are at home learning and all of that. So we understand that is an additional challenge. And I did an earlier thing about ways that we can love our children that might be helpful for that. Did you want to say any more to the parents need extra gold medal badges right now. We see that, and we see you. We name that.
That's right. Yeah. One of the things that in the training you get for marriage and family that they always talk about is, as soon as you throw that third person in, that child, it changes that relationship, because you can't just focus on that other person. You have this person you have to focus on also. And as they get older, before COVID and the need to be not out in close physical distance to other people, they could get out more. We would see the kids playing in the neighborhood sometimes. Now, with the physical distancing challenges, that puts a different challenge for you, because how do you explain to your kids, sorry, you can't go do that? No, you have to be here. The whole attending school from home is a big challenge. I have a person I know whose child's computer setup is pretty close to his iPad and all this Xbox and all this other stuff that's just over to the side of his room, because they're in an apartment and they don't, it's not like the child has a huge room he can be in to do his schoolwork. So that's going to throw some additional challenges in your life with that person.
And we hope this is the beginning and opening of a conversation, that if there's a way that we can be helpful to you during this difficult time, we would welcome the opportunity to do that. Just let us know. If you found this helpful, we hope you'll like it on Facebook. You can also rewatch it on Facebook, on YouTube, or on our website, www.aspaciousplace.com. And this is the last in this series. Next week, we are going to be looking at accessible costuming ideas for the Halloween season, and things that you can make with what you have around the house, because we need to celebrate everything we can right now. And we're also looking at a way that we can invite whoever wants to dress up in their Halloween finery and walk the orange carpet. So we'll be getting more information to you about how you do that virtually, so that we can see each other's awesome costumes, because there's not going to be trick-or-treating this year. And we want people to have an opportunity to dress up and imagine. We need that right now. And that'll be starting on October 4th will be the first one of those. We also are going to be doing our annual Gifted to Give online this year. And we have 6 projects that people can choose from. And it'll be $10 to do all of them. We'll deliver the supplies to your door within 20 miles of our location near the Y and Oak Hill. And then we'll be doing instruction online. And we wanted to show you one of the projects. This is a cup and saucer planting pot, and we'll be providing, you have to kind of get it, we're going to be providing soil and a bulb to go in it as well, something that will be flowering for the holiday season. So let's pray together. These hard times can wear at us, God. It can wear down those human relationships that are our most intimate and committed. Hearten us with hope. Give us practices for hanging on and hanging in, because we are grateful for the persons in our lives who love us as we are and who hope for us as you hope.